Recording in progress.
Hello, beautiful ones. Welcome to episode 2 of Resonance. I'm Casey Aileen Knight. If we haven't met yet, I'm the founder of the Luminous Evolution Experience and Joy Evolution, as well as the Creation Coach Academy. And I really get high talking about all of this fun frequency magic. So, if you missed episode 1, you are still in the right place, especially if you're here live with me. If you are called to pause this right now and come back to it later because you need to go catch episode 1, that's fine. But you could probably still hang and then go back and get that later. But I want to just give you a very brief synopsis of what we talked about last time to jog your memory or just catch you up because it is like the important piece in order for any of this stuff that I'm going to talk about today not make sense. It'll make sense without it, but for it to actually work. Episode 1 was talking about how we need space. I likened our body, our beingness to singing bowls. Now, Zoom and my audio equipment and my new computer, they don't like when I play singing bowls online anymore. So I'm not actually going to bring it out for you. So you're just going to have to imagine. But a singing bowl needs to have the empty space in it to be able to properly resonate, right? To get a nice solid bung. And if it's filled up with dense, heavy things that aren't supposed to be there, and I don't know why, but I'm just imagining like some child's like alphabet blocks, it's not gonna make a good resounding noise. There won't be that reverberation. What happens, and this also happens even if you're just like touching the singing bowl with some other part of your body or something else, it just goes thwack. And you're like, where's that beautiful sound? Oh, it's touching something else. So if you're trying to manifest and create without making space first, so you have this clear vessel for reverberations that are pure to like basically go through you and then out into the ethers to the universe, your manifestations are going to be exactly that potent. It's going to be a whack and it's not going to go anywhere. So instead of that beautiful bell like tone that can travel through long distances. I got some, I wish I could play them for you. I have some giant singing bowls I acquired this year that are like big, big professional, hefty ones. And when I really get them going, you can hear them on the other side of the house in the basement. It is wild. So, the spaciousness that is essential to allowing what we're going to talk about today to even be possible. We also just went through eclipse season. So if you're watching this far off in the future, that's going to have very little relevance to you. But for me personally, I just spent a whole few months emptying myself out because I was full of busyness, of ideas, of like so many possibilities, so much potential, so many things I could create. You know what? It was getting a little crowded and it was getting a little messy. So I had to let go of a lot of things energetically, literally physically. I had to declutter my space. I also needed to drop certain things in terms of my business. There were masterminds I did not launch because even though I wanted to do it, I had everything ready, I had done it before. It wasn't even a new program, it was a repeat of something that was so potent and so powerful. My Alchemy of Abundance mastermind. Spirit was like, no. And it said it that quietly. It wasn't a big, like, smack, don't do it. You know, like we sometimes get when it's a really powerful message? It was just, no, very still and quiet. Don't do the thing. So I tuned in and I'm just like, okay, then why? What am I supposed to be doing? And they're like, nothing. Be in stillness. I needed space. I needed spaciousness. And I felt like actually, when I got into this place, the void space, instead of it feeling really nerve wracking and uncertain and insecure, like maybe it has in the past when I've been kind of stripped away from everything that I knew because I was going somewhere else and I wasn't ready to go there yet. And I just needed to be in this 0 point space of waiting and calibrating to what was coming. This time, it felt really good. I think because I had also not been forced there. I dove into this void space consciously and I let go of everything that wasn't an obligation, that wasn't a program that was already running. And I just spent time in it, like consciously and unconsciously. I spent time doing nothing. I spent time in meditation. And in this space, I felt this beautiful peace. If I was basically not resisting the spaciousness, my soul got to spread out and I was like, oh, this is actually really lovely. Yes. And in that space, in less time than I thought it might take, the clarity of my next steps dropped in. And it was more than that. It was actually an energetic grid for what I was doing next that looked like a pyramid. And it was so solid and so structured and massive. I didn't have room for it before when I was busy doing all of these things, even though those things were still in alignment with me. That was the wild thing. I wasn't out of alignment. I wasn't doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing. And yet I still needed to make space for the next evolution and iteration. Sometimes we need that space for the next thing to drop in. Sometimes we need that space to be able to calibrate our energetic field. And sometimes we need the space just to be free of the traumas and dramas and stories and density that inhibits us from being able to emit that crystal clear tone of the singing bowl. So I am excited for you, if you haven't seen that episode, to go back and watch it so you can get more of the why and the how, just landing for me more deeply, though, as I've explained to you the process that I have been through so many times, but again, just recently. And today we're going to talk about activating your manifestation magic through resonance. But again, that clarity is essential first. If you are not clear, if you don't have space inside, it's not going to reverberate the way you want to. This is where the fun really begins, though. After you've done the healing work, and healing work is, yes, you're going to, have things pop up for the rest of your life because stuff will happen and you got to deal with it. But once we can create that clean and clear current through us, that's when you get to activate your power as a creator. Like, can I just tell you honestly, I don't even really love the word manifestation at all. I think it's got so much baggage, so many distortions of what it has turned into that it's difficult to get the crystal clarity that we require. Did I acquire Elemental Manifestation as a web address for my Elemental Oracle cards and my Creation Coach Academy? Yes. Yes, I did. But the thing is, I kind of pull a bait and switch and I'm like, let me teach you manifestation because that's what you want, right? You want to manifest what you desire: abundance, income, impact, health, vibrancy, relationships. You want to manifest all of that, right? And I'm like, let me take you further into what I call creation, or more specifically, alchemical co creation with all that is. Through this process of emptying yourself out so you can be a clear channel, so that you have space to resound and reverberate, you also make enough space for yourself to hear the whispers of your soul or of your heart. And then you're going to get those manifestation pieces or those creative pieces from your soul's cosmic trajectory, the things that are actually for you, that are written into your destiny, as opposed to manifestations that you'd like from the ego that are either designed to keep you safe or keep you alive or give you what your ego thinks that you need in order to be able to be successful. But the ego's definition of success is to stay alive, does not like to do risky things. And my friends, our soul trajectories, like the highest possible version of what we came here to do in its most epic way, it's not going to be safe. It's not going to be comfortable. It's probably not even going to make sense. So it's not always going to be an immediate like yes from the ego, because the ego's like, that's unknown, I'm kind of afraid of that, I don't know if we should do it, and you're going to start to have all these thought forms try to shut it down because it might feel too big, it might feel too wild, right, too improbable. The thing is, you are a fractal of the infinite creativity and creator consciousness of the all that is, right? You are a part of that. And I think our journey is to remember that power. And manifestation oftentimes feels like a passive activity, right? Where it's like, I'm just going to journal it and then I'm going to attract it into me. And sometimes it works like that. And I'm going to be teaching you how we access that magic. We're talking about resonance. But in episode 3, which is going to be next week, we're going to be tuning into the little talked about action aspect of manifestation that is essential to actually getting the impact, the income, the health, the relationships that you freaking want. Because just doing nothing is only one part of the equation. Being the resonance of whatever it is that you want to desire, this is not the end, my friends. I'm saying we have a 3-episode arc of what you need, the information you need for all of this to land. So I do need you to tune in next week. Otherwise, what I say today about resonance, you're going to go off and you're going to try to apply it. And you're going to be like, it's kind of working. Is that what she meant? I don't know. There is a third part to this: aligned action, where you truly embody your creator power. Okay. You're going to need part 1, the last part 3, the next part. But today, we're going to activate through this place of emptiness that you got after episode 1 the power of your imagination and your intention, your focus, and your literal capacity to be a master of your own frequency so that you can actually collapse time to not only manifest and create what you desire, but to be the creator of it to the point that you already are it and you don't even need it. Like, what am I talking about? This is the creation magic. You, my loves, are these beautiful, very sophisticated energy, um, let's call them organic machines, who can actually tune into and emit frequencies. And we do this all the time, but we're not always doing it consciously. So you're kind of like both a radio, transceiver and transmitter. You're always receiving energy from everything around you, but you can also emit it. Most of us emit the energy and the frequency on freaking default. Like, we're just putting whatever out there into the universe because we're not consciously cultivating our vibrational frequency. Now, what are we talking about when it comes to frequency? We talked a little bit about this on episode 1, but like it's not just a sound vibration, it's the energetic oscillation, the bandwidth of our thoughts and feelings. To get, it's our electromagnetic field. that is vibrating or oscillating at a particular frequency that then resonates or creates these vibrations through our entire body and then our being, and then ripples it out into the world. And I want you to come away with the idea today that you can tune in to become an energetic match for that which you desire to create. So, what do people want to create? I would love to hear from you. And if you're here live or on the replay, doesn't matter. What is something that you are trying to manifest and create currently? Put it in the comments. It could be specific, it could be a frequency, it could be a thing. Oftentimes it's love, right? Partner. Sometimes it's a new house, a new job, more clients in my business. Um, Sometimes it's straight up money. A lot of people trying to manifest money, which makes sense. We need money to live in the current state of reality. Freedom, time, and money. Interesting. These are interesting pieces of currency. Now, when we talk about frequency bandwidths, those are that's the way I like to talk about it, because I think certain things exist in a frequency bandwidth I'm going to show you down here, and those feel really like slow and maybe low. And then there's frequency bandwidths up here that are very high and fast. Then there's the ones in the middle that are pretty neutral. But the ones that are slow and low, those frequencies are heavy and they tend to close off our energy. And the ones that are up here tend to make us feel light and open and playful. So the frequency bandwidths, I'm talking electromagnetic concepts, like ideas, things we can experience. So sorrow, grief, uh, feeling alone, feeling fear, those are frequencies that are like down in the bandwidth that feels very heavy to most humans, if not all of us. I just haven't talked to every human. So sometimes I don't like speaking in absolutes. Let me know if that feels like nice and light and playful for you. It probably doesn't, right? Those ones feel like scarcity, like not enough. There's something wrong. It doesn't feel good in the body. And then there's the bandwidths up here: gratitude, joy, freedom, abundance, magic. Like it just feels open, expansive, full of possibilities. So, most of the things that we typically want to manifest or create on purpose are going to exist up here in this frequency bandwidth. Yes, most of us, just let me know if there's something else. I feel like I would like to manifest more feeling awful. Like maybe, but probably not. So, the part about this is a lot of people don't understand that you are actually in control of where you are tuning your tuner in. You can fine tune your frequency just like you could fine tune a radio dial to go, through the different bandwidths of radio waves. And then, of course, you've got the AM and the um, I almost said PM, but FM dials as well. And now, if you're someone who doesn't really listen to the radio and you're like, I just, watch TikToks, I totally get that. But it's just, I think you can imagine it, right? With the radio dial, and like back in the day, that's how we used to receive information, was from the radio. We would play music in our cars that way if your cassette play, or CD players weren't working. I'm 40, so I do remember listening to the radio and it going in and out when we were going on long road trips. And sometimes you couldn't quite tune into a station. So our energy is very much like those radio bandwidths. We have different frequencies that we can tune into. If our machinery, like the ability to tune in, is limited by trauma or density or belief systems that are limiting us or inhibiting us from having this full freedom and liberation to tune into any bandwidth or radio station that we desire, health, wealth, abundance, vitality, possibility, we might feel like those stations are completely inaccessible and they're like some land far away. That's why that needing the clear vessel was the important part on episode 1. We required all of this space, so and to remove the densities and the traumas and the belief systems and the wounding and things like that, so we actually have room to fully move the dial around and choose. And I'm going to teach you a little bit more about the theory of how to do this inside many of my programs, like my next level manifestation course, and in a few of my different pieces and places. I actually walk people through exercises to do this, but you can do it on your own as well. There is a piece that you need to understand, and this is that your imagination and your intention are actually how we work with and manipulate frequency and energy. They are your gateways into not only being able to interpret all of the different frequency bandwidths and all of that etheric stuff, but also to actually manipulate it. You may have been told that your imagination was something that was less than, let's just say, if you happen to be raised in our Western society. We would write things off. Oh, it's probably only my imagination. Or we would be told that it was straight up, you're imagining that and this is not real. All of these things. Now, there, of course, we do have fantasy. That is a thing. We can have, we can tap into archetypal realms and fantasies in our mind, but I still believe that those are different, like dimensional places and spaces that we can access. But to actually utilize your imagination consciously is how you become a really powerful energy worker. So, your imagination, I'm going to define as however you imagine when you're reading a book or someone's telling you a story. It doesn't have to be visual, it doesn't have to be anything specifically, right? Some people will see the movie screen, some people will hear characters come to life and hear their voices. But I think what is important is for you to actually feel the things in your body in order for this manifestation magic to be activated in you, this creation magic. When you are wanting to create something, to manifest something, and by the way, thank you, Laura, because I think only Laura said what she wanted to manifest: freedom, time, and money, but maybe Laura covered it for everybody. Let's just take money. Do you actually want the money? Or do you want what money can give you in terms of how it's going to feel or the things it can provide? Typically, we're chasing a specific emotion or frequency. So when people desire money, it's actually typically related to the freedom and time freedom, right? Freedom to choose, freedom to be, security, feeling safe, feeling protected, feeling full of possibilities, right? And let me know, what else do you think money is actually the gateway for? Because, like, I mean, if I give you cash, you're not just gonna like keep the cash unless you want a specific feeling of having lots of cash. Yes, by the way, I am Canadian. Um, this is what our money looks like. This is from my abundance bowl and jar that my daughter did steal $5 out of there the other day for, I don't know, cleaning or something. She's like, I'm just gonna take my allowance out of here. I'm like, okay, I need to replace that then. We don't want cash. We don't really care about the zeros and ones and whatever in our bank account other than what it can do for us, because we want the feeling of the money. And so that feeling is truly the currency, the frequency that it gives us. Money on this realm taps us in to the possibilities. It's a resource that can support us. right? And if we don't have it, it's a big problem. When we do have it, it's really just an amplifier. Money, if you're sad, money is not guaranteed to make you happy, right? It will amplify. There's plenty of people who get lots of money and they're still sad, or they're still lonely, or they're still upset. They're still angry at the world because they have not done the work to shift the frequency of themselves first. So when we play with this resonance stuff, what you are doing is giving yourself the ability to cut out the middleman like money. That's something that will be a lagging indicator later of what the internal frequency that you are cultivating. And you get to collapse the time to experience that thing that you desire. So if you want money so you have the freedom and the possibility and the security, you can access all of that internally now without waiting. What if you didn't have to wait until you had the money to feel happy? What if you didn't have to wait until you had the perfect body to feel sexy? What if you didn't have to wait until you had the relationship to feel loved and fulfilled? Wouldn't that be great? In fact, this is such old paradigm thinking that we have to have a thing to feel a certain way. That is the old way. And to be honest, that old paradigm, the way we were taught, right? Get the thing, feel the way you want to feel. It doesn't actually freaking work. It doesn't actually make any sense because you can get the money and the body and the relationship and still feel miserable and sad and all of these things that you thought that thing was going to fix, right? You hear stories of this all of the time because your resonance, your frequency, your internal experience is actually so much more important and so much more real. And in this new paradigm, this new earth that we are co creating, that is now overlaid over top of the old paradigm, which is crumbling and falling away, we get to be it first. We get to be it first, energetically. And then first off, we'll become an energetic match and we will see the circumstances around us change and we will see the physicalization of our internal experience with time. But the funny thing is, we don't even need what it is that we were desiring in the first place. If you could skip that step of needing the money, the body, the relationship, the car, the house, whatever it was, to feel the way that you want to feel, you no longer need that thing. And you get to live in this state of not having it. I'm not saying it won't come to you. I'm saying you remove your attachment to it. So the desire isn't like creating this sense of lack in you. Because if we want something and we can't have it because, and we don't feel the way we think we want it to make us feel, all we're experiencing is the lack. And that will cock block your manifestation and creation power so much faster than anything else. I love my camera can't keep up when I'm shaking all over the place. So when you have the frequency in you and you learn how to make yourself feel the way you want to feel through this resonance piece without needing the external factor to validate the feeling and to give you that feeling, then you're no longer attached and you no longer feel the lack, which actually inhibits the resistance. When you're in lack or resistance to like the pieces of what you want, you don't get them as fast, if at all. It's wild and it's not fair. We're going to leave out the middleman in this new paradigm and you be it. Then you do the aligned action. Again, that's episode 3. So you have to come back next week to talk about the action piece. Because if you don't get that piece, you're not going to actually physicalize what it is. But then you get to have the thing. without actually requiring it. It's kind of a mind, but this is not actually for your mind to fully understand. This is about inner standing. This is about the feeling. This is about the resonance. And one of my guides and mentors always actually says, she's instead of says understand, she says inner stand. And the first time I heard that, I was like, what? It made my brain skip a beat. And I was like, oh, like inside is feeling it. And I think the mind can't, until it reaches this place of ascension, the mind can't fully comprehend these things because they need to be felt. Eventually, on your journey of evolution, you're going to learn how to think with your mind. Sorry, think with your heart and feel with your mind, which is really wild because it's all going to become very coherent and cohesive. Once we have this practice of the resonance piece down, you no longer get to live in lack. You don't have to wait because it's already there. And then you know that whatever is for you, truly like for your soul, because you're vibing in this beautiful experience of cohesion, it's inevitable that it's coming to you, what is for you, right? In the most perfect aligned way. So that's where that other piece of like surrender and detachment comes in. And we're no longer playing again from the ego saying, I need it to be this way, and it needs to look like this, and I need to have this to feel safe. When you get this piece of resonance, which I will explain how to do in a moment, fully there, you pull all of the pieces of manifestation that are so misunderstood just all into alignment, and it becomes almost effortless because you already are that which you are seeking. So you no longer have to seek it. So it's no longer this place of searching and yearning and lack. You already are it. So you're an energetic and vibrational match for it. So the universe will just rearrange so that more of it in the physical, tangible way will come into your life. And you know it's on the way because you already are it. So you're not missing it out on it. If you are with me, amazing. And if you're like, I am still not certain what you're talking about, that's okay too. For planting seeds, you might need to go back to episode 1 to have the clarity and that clear vessel that we require to be able to have the energetic flow where we can really, it's almost, yeah, tuning the radio dial, choosing what we are going to emit and be. So if we want money, let's just talk about it in terms of the freedom that it gives. So, how do you become an energetic match for freedom? If you live in a place where you do need money to live, and maybe you're not totally free because there are things like rules and passports and that you need to have to travel and all kinds of those physical, tangible things. Well, we want to create the inner circumstance where you already feel the frequency bandwidth of freedom inside of you. So we need the clearing out of the old stuff or anything that's not you. This is not spiritual bypassing. The clearing and the healing part is an essential part of the process, but that's not where you get stuck. Okay. You feel the feelings that are in the way, you heal the traumas, you move that energy, and then the fun part begins. You get to play. You get to play with this and create on purpose instead of by default. And the fastest way to get this resonance feeling inside of your body of the frequency you desire is to use your intention, command it to be so, tune into the frequency of that word and what it means to you. And you can take either a memory or imagine what it would be like. So if I want to feel more freedom, I can tune in to what freedom feels like for me, and I let my imagination guide me. And the very first thing that came through, it's like, where do I feel the most free? And honestly, I was soaring like a bird above the sky. And I was literally, I think I was an eagle. So I did a little shamanic shape shifting into being an eagle. And I was gliding on the air currents. And I was looking down at the earth. And I was feeling the wind on me just in that moment because I've practiced this. So this might take you longer to get into it. I've practiced this so much that simply the word triggers the imagination, bringing me into that space and place. And that is what freedom felt like to me in that moment. And I can, with that memory or imagination, maybe it's a soul memory, maybe I'm hopping into an eagle's body, the eagle consciousness, who knows? It doesn't really matter. I can bring that feeling into my heart space. And if I choose to, using my consciousness, I can will it to expand. And I can like imagine turning the dial up, or I can just command it to be so. And I can move that feeling of freedom through my body, through my arms and legs and fingers and toes, to my head and neck. And then it can't even stay in my physical form. It's starting to emanate into my energetic field to feel that freedom. It's already expanding into this bubble around me. So I am already that. So even if my outside circumstances don't match this, energy is faster, consciousness is quicker, and consciousness is unbounded. So you have to understand that your consciousness is not bound by your physical body and where you are and what your circumstances are. Your consciousness is eternal, and your consciousness is magic and can go anywhere and be anything and do anything and feel anything. Like we can travel around the cosmos. And if you don't believe me, come hang out in some of my my sessions, my programs where I will take people on magic carpet rides around the cosmos. We will go together and we'll be seeing the same things. Like I have so much evidence of this with my one-on-one clients. I'll be narrating a journey and they'll be like, I just saw that. And I'm like, I know, we're really here. They're like, how did you know? I'm like, I'm seeing it. We're here together. Your consciousness doesn't have to be limited by your physical form. Your consciousness can bring through that energy and that resonance into this now moment. So you don't have to wait for your physical circumstances to shift and change in order to be it. So, again, we are not taught this stuff in school. We are taught that your imagination is distracting you and you need to zone it in and like pay attention to what is really in front of you. That is true to some extent. We do need to learn presence and focus. But for me, what I tell my daughter when she's bored in school and doesn't want to listen to the teacher, I'm telling her she needs to learn how to harness her focus on even boring things so that she can be magical and literally do this kind of creation and consciousness and manifestation magic and astral travel around the cosmos. Like how you get there is through learning how to focus your attention. And then with that focus, plus your imagination and your intention, your will, you can control the dials of whatever it is that you're wanting to tune into. You can experience bliss, orgasmic bliss, sitting at a desk in client sessions. Ask me how I know. Some of the new earth realms have this frequency bandwidth available, and I'll take clients there and we're like, oh wow, feel this air. The air around me feels different. We can shift our vibrational reality and then through that become the energetic match for more of that in to physicalize in our external world. We can choose to tune into restriction, like the pain and suffering, the problems, all of that heavy stuff. Or we can use our pure consciousness to tune into what we would like more of. Again, the nuance is you cannot spiritually bypass what's in the body. So, episode one, we talked about needing to feel the feelings, to clear out the old densities. You can't skip that part, but you don't have to stay there. A lot of people have been on a healing journey for a while now. And I am here not to really talk about the healing so much, but to help healers and leaders come back into their wholeness so that they can be conscious creators and use this magic that is inherently available to all of us when we have cleared out some of that density. We can return to that power that we have to basically shift our internal reality. And you do it all through yourself. You get to feel the way you desire to feel, again, by remembering when you've already done that or imagining what it is. And then you calibrate your entire being to it. And you can use your focus and intention and be like, hey, cells, can you calibrate to this energetic frequency? So I'm an energetic match for more of this. And you can be like, hey, universe, more of this, please. More of this, please. You can work with it consciously, but you also want to play with shifting your subconscious baseline. So you're focusing on the frequency bandwidth that feels open and full of possibility instead of the one that feels like nothing is possible and everything has to be hard. There's more of the nuance back in episode one with the nervous system and all of those pieces. And then next week, we're going to tune into how then does it become physicalized, right? If we are just walking around as beautiful energetic matches to freedom, to money, to abundance, to magic, to love, to all of those things, there are things that will come to us as if by magic, just totally out of nowhere, out of the blue. You get the phone call, you get the opportunity, but there still has to be action. If we don't take any aligned action and we don't take the course or say yes to the date or, like start the business or whatever it is, you can have the internal state still. Yes, you can feel it. But again, we're creators who came here to physicalize things. So this is often that missing link for people, the people who work well with energy. All of you galactically beautiful people who are like, yes, I can work with energy. I can feel it. You can do it so fast. The how you bring that cosmic magic down to earth to actually create tangible, physical, sustainable things is the secret sauce that is so often missing. It's like, I can feel it. Why isn't it here yet? I'm sorry. I also remember existing without the body and being able to be in the realms of like, you think it, and then so it is, and it's instant. And that was great. But we came here to learn how to be creators in this denser earth plane where you have to first have the energetics and the intention and you plant the seed, and then you have to have the resources to make it grow. We have to take the aligned action. We have to do these other pieces to actually make something sustainable, lasting, and like whatever it is that we desire. But the feeling part has to be dialed in. If you want to experience more money in your life and all you were feeling is lack and scarcity, I'm sorry. You are going to have a very difficult time until you're able to shift the energy to experience more abundance, more possibility in your life. So the solution is to feel the feelings, do the healings. We already talked about that. And then be able to tune into and focus on what you want instead. So, gratitude, fastest way into the frequency of abundance and possibility. A gratitude rampage. Having gratitude for what you already have will shift your internal state into one of celebration, which is just this party in the name of gratitude, and joy and possibility. If I just ask you to spend a minute or two naming off things that you're grateful for, and not just thinking them, not saying, I'm grateful for my partner, I'm grateful for water, and doing it from this level, but tuning into the heart and the body and actually feeling it. Because we can't intellectualize the resonance, my friends. You have to feel it. It's an embodiment, it's a practice that you need to have through your entire being to vibrate your cells at that frequency. If you feel the gratitude, I am so freaking grateful for the clean water that I get to drink, especially since I got my new uh, filtration system. It's called an iSpring. This gratitude, can you feel the difference in me than if I go, I'm so grateful for clean water? From here, you are thinking a thought. When you drop it into the body and you're feeling it, it resonates through you. I gotta have some of this water now. Well, it was a pain in the butt to install this iSpring thing. It takes up almost all of our space underneath our sink. Thankfully, we have two, and it's on one downstairs. But it was so worth it because now my water is something I can be extra grateful for. My cats, my kid, they're like, water, yay. But we have to get out of the habit of intellectualizing everything and keeping it here if you want to activate your most magical manifestation magic. It's about bringing it through the clear channel that you are into your body and creating the frequency of it through your intention and imagination, feeling it, remembering it, imagining it to be so, letting it move through you, and then you are it. And you don't lack that. In that state of gratitude, if you can literally lift yourself up to that field or frequency of gratitude, you're not focused on the lack. And so you can play with these things to shift yourself consciously into those spaces where you can have all of the possibilities. And from that place, we're going to take the aligned actions to physicalize what it is. But we don't have to feel like we're missing it anymore. Therefore, we are not going to have the same kind of resistance and like gap between where we are now and where we want to go, because typically navigating that gap is what trips everyone up in terms of getting what they want. They're like, I'm here. What I want is over here. How do I get there? You have to be it first. You have to feel it first. Let it reverberate and resonate through your entire form, every cell of your being. And then when it's time to take the actions, because you were inspired to, you're doing it from a place of abundance, from that place of overflow, from that place of possibility, not from lack. So it collapses the time required to do the things. The things you do may be more aligned. You're still going to make some mistakes along the way. This isn't the magic secret sauce to literally never making a mistake ever, but you get to make a mistake and you go, oh, that just brought me the information I need. And you don't have to feel any which way about it, which can also stop people from trying, right? Oh, I don't know how, so I'm not going to do it. You will learn how through the doing, which again, we'll talk about more next week, because the creation process is a physical, tangible thing here on this earth realm. It's not just think a thought and so it is. It's like, how can we make the formless turn into form? The resonance that we hold in our body is step number 2. We get to be it, we become it, we emanate it, and then we are a magical match for it. So some of it is going to be magnetized just into you, but if you do nothing after that, it's going to stay energetic. Can't wait to talk about physicalizing all of this stuff next week. If you have questions about the process of embodiment and resonance, please drop them in. I would love to answer them next week. There is this piece around, you can hear me say this, but you're going to have to try it and do it, right? So, just to finish up here, I invite you to think of what it is that you actually want to create more of in your life in terms of feeling, what frequency. And I'd love for you to type it in so that It's light grounded, right? Formless idea, put it into form. This is another trick that we do, and I teach inside my Creation Coach Academy when I'm teaching people how to teach people how to create, how to manifest magic. It is to first off light ground it somehow, write it down, setting an intention. Spelling is called spelling because it's literal magic, right? So casting a spell as you're writing things down. And then I really want to give you permission to take 5 minutes after this or later today, but put it in your phone, put it in your like calendar so you actually do it, and really sink into imagining what that feels like, remembering what it is, honoring yourself if you haven't felt it yet, and just imagine what it would be like and bring it into your body. Turn up the volume knob, amplify it so it expands through you, hold it for a little while, and then just let it go, right? And practice becoming the thing that you desire, the frequency you desire, without needing your external circumstances to change. You don't have to wait. You don't have to get the money, partner, the job, the car, the cute outfit, or your nails done before you can have the feeling that you desire. This gives you all of your creation power back. You are a creator, and you were not taught cheat codes to actually creating here on earth. So, can't wait to give you more of the how to physicalize things, how to make things tangible next week. If you're wanting to dive more into this, within two places are probably your best bet. One is this is going a little bit more into the how, but it gives you all of it. You can tune into the elemental creation magic. Fastest way in is through my Oracle deck, the Elemental Forces of Creation Alchemy deck, 90 cards, creation secrets that look to nature's rhythms and nature's unified field template. Which again, we're going to get into a little bit more next week about like how do we actually do this thing? You can find those at elementalmanifestation.com. The other piece, I think, where I have most of this collected is inside my next fucking level manifestation course, a self study that I will drop the link for as well. So there are so many fun ways you can play with this. If you are feeling yourself slip into lack energy, use that to ask yourself, what do I want instead? Feel whatever feelings need to happen, do the healings. I know you know how to do that. And then focus on what you want instead. Bring that into your being and calibrate to that so you're no longer missing it. And then the doing becomes, again, pretty effortless with a whole lot more fun and flow. So I will leave us there, my loves. Thank you so much for joining me. I can't wait until next week, time TBD, episode 3, where it's like, and how? How do we actually take aligned action instead of just throwing spaghetti at the wall? Sending you so much love. Have a beautiful rest of your day and all my love.